today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. An unexpected turn of events by way of the WBA. The World Boxing Organization auction between Leo Santa Cruz and Leigh Wood, due to be held today, was suspended because both sides reached an agreement to finalize the fight.
Not what I expected, because not but a few days ago, Kiko Martinez and Mauricio Lara were in the running to take on Leigh Wood.
Leigh Wood, who was pretty much caught between a rock and a hard place. His title shot, his mandated title shot against Leo Santa Cruz, would only get him 25% of the overall pot.
Not a favorable split by way of the WBA at all.
He might have actually made a little bit more money taking on Mauricio Lara in his own neck of the woods, though taking on Mauricio, well, that bears considerable more risks than taking on Leo Santa Cruz. And taking on Mauricio and potentially beating him, not saying that Leigh Wood would have or wouldn't have, though doing so wouldn't make him a champion, wouldn't get him a title.
So in the 13th hour, they decided to go ahead with the Leo Santa Cruz fight.
A surprising twist, according to veteran boxing scribe Dake Jonovan. Leo Santa Cruz versus Leigh Wood title consolidation fight. Today's purse bid has been suspended as both sides informed the WBA that a deal has been reached, and they now have 20 days to provide signed contracts with a date and a location for the fight. Given the time frame that this overall decision was made, you get the sense that it won't be Matchroom doing the show. It may end up being Leigh Wood going over to the PBC side of things.
It's the most amicable solution when it comes to this, the neatest way to tidy things up.
Wrap up this entire fiasco. Why would Matchroom want to give Leo Santa Cruz, a fighter they don't have under contract, a big wad of cash at this point in a fight that Leigh Wood might potentially lose, just for Leo to go back to the PBC side of things once the engagement is over? The more cost-feasible solution would be to simply send Leigh Wood over to the PBC and let them foot the bill. Let them pay for the fight.
That might be the way this cookie crumbles. This might end up being a PBC show or part of one.
Leo Santa Cruz versus Leigh Wood is a good fight, intriguing fight, one of the better fights you can hope to make in the featherweight division. This does stifle Leo Santa Cruz's plans to go into a Ray Vargas unification match. Ray Vargas is PBC stablemate and this division's reigning WBC champion, newly crowned unbeaten.
Oh, some effort was going into that, but as it stands, he's got to satisfy his mandatory challenger. I don't think a lot of people were expecting Leigh Wood to go ahead with this fight.
Don't think a lot of people expected Leo would have to honor this engagement.
Quality of competition and overall experience must go to the champion, must go to Leo Santa Cruz,
whose signature wins include a fifth-round knockout over Spain's own Kiko Martinez, very durable endgame fighter. Some years ago in 2016, Leo Santa Cruz knocked that guy out in the fifth round. He holds a knockout win over Kiko, a majority decision over Farrell Crampton in their second fight, their rematch. A majority decision over Carl, a unanimous one over Abner Mares.
Their first fight was ruled a majority decision in favor of Leo. Their second one was a unanimous decision.
Leo Santa Cruz has the same number of professional losses as Leigh Wood. A loss to Carl Frampton some years ago in their first meeting, and a more recent knockout loss to Gervonta Davis. Leigh Wood,
he's got two professional losses, the same as Leo. He lost one to James Dickens about 2 years ago in 2020.
Many years ago, he was knocked out by Henelsis de Jesus. Way back when? Way back there in 2013. Leigh Wood, he has turned things around. I think that goes without saying. He's won 5 of his last 6 fights by way of knockout or technical knockout. He's currently on a 3-fight winning streak, coming off a career-best win over Mick Conlan in dramatic fashion. That dramatic ending, knocking Mick out of the ring and out at the same time.
Needless to say, I think that Leigh Wood and his team, they like his chances in this fight, regardless of who puts it on. They like his chances, and he's riding high.
Experience has got to go to the champion, and overall punching power might have to go to the challenger, might have to go to Leigh Wood, who, I reiterate, has won 5 of his last 6 fights by way of knockout or technical knockout, whereas Leo hasn't proven to be a big puncher as a featherweight.
Experience goes to Leo Santa Cruz, and overall punching power goes to Leigh Wood.
You might be telling yourself that while Leo Santa Cruz isn't a big puncher, a big puncher at featherweight, neither is Mick Conlan. And Mick Conlan dropped Leigh Wood early in their fight, sat him on his back pocket could Leo Santa Cruz, the defending champion, have that same success? I don't think Lee Wood's the most durable guy, if I'm being honest. Don't think he takes the best punch, though at the same time, Leo Santa Cruz, having not made this weight in approximately 3.5 years, what's his punch resistance going to be like? Finally having to defend this title, finally having to make the weight.
3.5 years is a long time for a guy to not have to make featherweight, to not have to make 126 pounds.
It really is. So I don't know who you could give the edge in overall punch resistance and durability as, Lee Wood, he's a big guy, strong guy, doesn't take the greatest punch. But will Leo, having not made this weight in 3.5 years, what is his punch resistance going to be like? The more prolific puncher, the busier puncher, the volume guy in this fight would have to be Leo Santa Cruz. Whereas power, overall power, one-hitter quitter power, I'd say that has to go to Lee Wood.
That's really Lee Wood's out in this fight, that Leo's punch resistance might not be that great at featherweight anymore.
Coupled with Leo Santa Cruz having suffered a violent knockout loss in more recent memory than Lee Wood's knockout way back when in 2013. Lee Wood was stopped before, but that was many, many years ago, whereas Leo Santa Cruz was knocked out more recently by Gervonta Davis, and that jostling to his brain.
If Lee Wood can actually pull this off, this will have been a very big year in his career, the biggest.
Whether or not he can, whether or not he will, that's open to interpretation. Men's heavyweight news. Tyson Fury posted this to his social media, announcing what is his third retirement today on his 34th birthday, saying, "Massive thanks to everyone who had input in my career over the years, and after long, hard conversations, I've finally decided to walk away on my 34th birthday. I say bon voyage. Here's a few who made this special along the way."
Tyson Fury, not but a day or so ago, was seen in Iceland calling out Thor Bjornsson for a fight.
Before that, he was seen calling out Derek Chisora. He reportedly made him an offer. We talked about that here on the channel. He essentially unretired for 2 or 3 days, then resumed his retirement today.
This will be the third time that Tyson Fury has retired from the sport of professional boxing and, at least by definition, relinquished his lineal status.
There are only 3 ways to lose lineal status in the sport of boxing. Losing it in the ring, the more conventional method. Dying, which Tyson Fury, to my knowledge, hasn't.
No, he's not dead. He's retired. Retired for the second time inside of just a few weeks.
3 overall, and by definition, when you retire, you relinquish your lineal status. The lineal status is forfeit upon retirement. Though it's not Tyson Fury's lineal title that people are most concerned with, it's his WBC title, because that's what'll tell us what we really want to know. When he relinquishes the WBC title, and to that, WBC President Mauricio Suleiman stated, just finished a touching video conference with Tyson Fury, who has confirmed his official retirement from boxing. We fully support his decision, which is a dream for anyone to retire undefeated and as WBC champion of the world. WBC Boxing will prepare a special farewell event soon, though there's no mention of Tyson Fury actually vacating the WBC title, because if he vacates that title, then we'll know for sure that he means business. Then we'll know for sure this guy ain't coming back.
He chucks that title, he's out of the conversation for undisputed. He would be out of the conversation for the winner of Joshua versus Usyk too.
If he really is retired, which would make Anthony Joshua versus Alexander Usyk too, at least unofficially, a fight for a new lineal champion, newly crowned lineal status. That's the way it works. In the absence of a lineal champion, whenever the number 1 and number 2 guys end up fighting each other, that crowns a new lineal champion. And if Tyson Fury really is retired, if he really is out, Joshua versus Usyk 2 would be for lineal status, for the lineal championship.
Lineal status wouldn't involve Deontay Wilder, because Deontay Wilder's coming off of 2 consecutive losses over the last 2 years.
It's not saying that Anthony Joshua is a shoo-in to be ranked as the number 2 heavyweight in the world, but he certainly has a more credible argument than Deontay. Though when it comes to Deontay, if this story checks out, and Tyson Fury really is gone, he really is retired, Deontay Wilder is in the pole position to procure the WBC title upon its vacancy. He is ranked as the WBC's number 1 contender after all, and he's reported to be returning this fall against Robert Helenius. If Tyson Fury really is gone, and this is serious, this is for real, Deontay may end up,
might get the chance to win that title back and see himself become a 2-time heavyweight champion, which really is a short list of fighters.
Very few heavyweights in the annals of boxing history have lost a heavyweight title, lost the heavyweight championship, and been able to get it back. There are really only a few two-time heavyweight champions, and Deontay Wilder very soon could be one among them if this story checks out, if Tyson Fury is serious. Though whether or not Tyson Fury is serious, your guess is as good as mine. This all could be a bid to focus all the attention on him, what he's doing, at a time when Anthony Joshua is making news and making headlines, and people are anticipating his long-awaited rematch with Alexander Usyk. This could very well be just Tyson Fury trying to funnel all the attention to himself as best as he can. We know that the man's willing to say anything.
He hasn't shut the fuck up for weeks.
Don't you notice that whenever Anthony Joshua's got something going on, a fight's coming up, you start seeing more and more Tyson Fury posts, Tyson Fury headlines, Tyson Fury news as a fight date approaches. I'm of the opinion that Tyson Fury does this deliberately in order to stay relevant in between fights. He doesn't want another heavyweight to dominate the headlines. Anthony Joshua, least of all.
Haven't you noticed how talkative this guy's been the last couple of weeks?
As this fight date approaches, haven't you noticed that Tyson Fury has said anything from he's done with boxing to he's not done with boxing, however, it'll take $500 million to get him out of retirement, to he'd fight Anthony Joshua for free in the United Kingdom.
Whilst vying for a Derek Chisora trilogy that no one is asking for.
Vying for a fight with Thor Bjornsson, very recently visiting Iceland, his native Iceland, and calling him out by way of social media. It seems to me that Tyson Fury's doing what he's doing for attention, and it's not a coincidence that he wants to garner this attention at a time when Anthony Joshua's got a fight coming up very soon. It's deliberate. It's by design, not by accident.
That's why it's hard to know if Tyson Fury really is gone, if he's really retired, if he's being serious.
We don't know, and we won't know for sure until we know what's going to happen to the green belt, what's going to happen to the WBC title. When can we expect Tyson Fury to vacate it, since the WBC has allowed him to announce two separate retirement stints without relinquishing the WBC title? Don't they want to move their own ranks along?
I'm sure they'd love to put that title back in Deontay Wilder's hands.
It's not a coincidence they themselves have kept him in a pole position to catch it should it go vacant. I mean, how could Deontay Wilder be ranked as the number one contender in their ranked standings, having lost two back-to-back fights to the same guy in the last 2 years?
Think of when he's set to return. He's set to return in October of this year.
His last fight, his last professional defeat, was in October of last year. So in that way, if Deontay ends up fighting in October, this October, the WBC will have allowed him to maintain a number one spot.
For what, a year? The only thing he's done in the last 12 months is lose to Tyson Fury for the second time.
It's deliberate. It's ridiculous. But that's how the cookie could end up crumbling if Tyson Fury's for real. If he really is retired. Walking away from a potential undisputed heavyweight title fight is sure to garner criticism in the coming weeks and months if this story actually checks out and he really is gone. He really is retired. And finally, per a tweet from Mike Coppinger, I'm sure you guys have heard already, the only fighter that Ryan Garcia is focused on is Gervonta Davis. And he's instructed his team to make the matchup next, a source tells ESPN. Garcia is optimistic that the deal will get done for a fight versus Tank in December.
Wait, didn't Oscar De La Hoya just say that he can't get in contact with anybody over there?
That he did, and they said they're moving on. Oscar De La Hoya himself said he's going to be in attendance for this weekend's fight, Teofimo Lopez's ring return.
And remember what Ryan said. He said that if they can't get Gervonta Davis, the next guy that he wants to fight is Teofimo Lopez, though he's now saying that...
He's now saying that his focus is on Gervonta. In truth, I don't think he fights Gervonta in December.
Nope.
I don't think he fights Teofimo Lopez either.
Nope.
I think...
When it comes to doing a fight with both of those fighters, they come with the same issues, the same problems.
Promotional issues, platform issues. I don't think the people at DAZN are going to part with Ryan Garcia so easily. If he does something, at least right now, they want to be involved. And the people at Showtime don't want to work with them. They don't want to have to split the pot in order to do a fight like that. The same applies, I think, to a Teofimo Lopez fight. Teofimo Lopez, who seems to now be in a pole position to move up the WBA's ranked standings, inching closer to a world title shot, a world title opportunity. If he makes it past Campas this weekend, he may have the chance to fight O'Hara Davies and secure a cushy spot in the WBA's ranked standings to fight for the title. the full title, the chance to become a 2-division champion.
That's a word sandwich.
Look, if you're struggling to keep up with all of this, it's simple. I don't think Ryan Garcia is going to fight Gervonta Davis or Teofimo Lopez, but if he's not going to fight them...
He's not going to fight them. Who's he going to fight? Jojo Diaz is busy. Jojo Diaz is set to fight William Zapata in the fall.
Oh, pay attention to this. Dan Rafael tweeted, "A little news. Sandor Martin was notified by the WBA he has withdrawn from consideration from a title eliminator versus O'Hara Davies. Purse bid was scheduled for Tuesday. With Martin out, Shakram Gayasov is next up to face Davies in the eliminator if he accepts." Now, Shakram Gayasov, he also withdrew from the eliminator, which is how Teofimo...
That's how Teofimo came into it.
Sandor Martin withdrawing from a potential O'Hara Davies fight, and Shakram Gayasov doing the same thing afterwards. That's how he came into that conversation, but...
What you have to pay attention to here is that initially it was supposed to be Sandor Martin versus O'Hara Davies, and he withdrew.
Covered that already, but why? Why did he withdraw from that potential eliminator? I'd give Sandor Martin good odds to outbox O'Hara Davies. Sandor Martin has been looking the part as of late, racking up a signature victory over Mikey Garcia, a very big name at or around these weights. Mikey, who has since retired. Sandor Martin was more recently in action in his native Spain, continuing to look the part. So what the hell could Sandor be doing that he's too busy to take on O'Hara Davies? Could he be in the running for a Ryan Garcia fight? Because they have to find Ryan someone to fight before the year is out. There's still a lot of time left.
I mean, I don't think he's going to fight Gervonta Davis. I don't think he's going to fight Teofimo Lopez.
I used to think he'd end up fighting Jojo Diaz. He'd just bring him up to 140 pounds, but Jojo's busy. Jojo is unavailable. So who is Ryan going to fight now that he's up there at 140 pounds?
There were some rumors and rumblings of Maxie Hughes receiving an offer from Ryan Garcia, but that plan didn't pan out.
Doesn't look like Ryan's going to fight Maxie. And then you hear this, that Sandor Martin withdrew from this eliminator. Why would he do that?
Does he have something bigger in the works behind the scenes?
Is it possible that a potential Sandor Martin versus Ryan Garcia fight is en route?